Hi creatives! Hope you're having a really great week. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about how to use Kayla to manage files from your remote team and making sure that everything's staying on track. I think even before the pandemic, a lot of us creatives were already working partly remotely. Even if you're in a studio or an agency where you have a physical location, a lot of times we tend to team up. So maybe you're like a copywriter and a photographer and a web developer who choose to work together. And it can be really, really great for freedom and flexibility. You can take on bigger projects. But it also tends to mean we have quite a lot of admin and managing of everything that needs to happen. Especially with creative projects, you have so many different stages and things need to happen in a specific order for things to work out. So, maybe you need to have discovery and concepting before you can move on to implementation. And that means that everything actually needs to be really, really structured and organized. And when you're working remotely, and especially with lots of people involved, that can be a bit time consuming. I think there's a couple things that need to really work when you have a remote team. You need to be able to know exactly who's going to do what at what time. You need to have a way to easily share files, approve and reject files, so you know that everything that you have organized together is the right content that will be used. And you also need a way for everyone who is going to access things to have an easy way to access it, and for the right people to have access at the right time and in the right format. The whole point and the reason that we built Kayla was we wanted more simplicity. More freedom to create and do the things that we actually love rather than spending lots of time on admin and project management, especially trying to chase down files that are the wrong format or that aren't submitted yet and people are looking through the long email chains or links that expire. We don't want that. We want easy and simple to use. So I'm going to go through how you can use Kayla and the different features that help you specifically working remotely and with teams that have lots of different people in it. So let's get into it. So when you first come into Kayla, you have your project dashboard. And in your project dashboard, you'll be able to get a quick overview of all of your active projects. If you want to, once a project is done, just to keep your dashboard really clear, you can always go here and archive the project. That means that all of the files will still be there, but you just won't have it in your dashboard. So that can be a super helpful trick to keep your dashboard nice and organized. The first thing we're going to look at is how to set up requests for each stage of your creative process or for the different people involved. So we're going to start by setting up a new project. And so here you can add the details of the project. So we want to have the kind of overarching details here. I like to add the client name, but you don't have to do that. You can do something else, but we're going to do a company name. And then maybe you are doing a branding project or print design, whatever you are doing. So in this case, we're going to say branding. Okay. And then if you already want to involve people who are managing this project together with you, meaning they can also set up requests, they can also reject or approve files, you can do that right away. You can also add creatives right here. And we're going to go more into this later, but creatives are basically people who have access to approved files, but they are not people who can manage the project with you. Okay, then we're going to click create. And now we have our project created. So what we want to do now is we want to set up our different requests. And a request means that you're asking for the files that you need from that specific contributor at a specific due date. And they are able to just drag and drop their files, click submit, and basically that's it. They will get an email invitation. And so it's super easy for anyone. It can be a client, a collaborator, a freelancer, or a part of your team who is submitting something. The great thing is that if they forget to submit something, Kayla will automatically send a reminder. And you can also see everything that you submitted in the past. So there's like a clear track record of everything and an overview. So you can do this in a couple of different ways depending on what fits your business. You can set it up for the different parts of the process, or you can set it up for different freelancers. So maybe we want to have a new request that is for the photography for the website. So let's say we have a photographer who's going to take custom pictures. So we can add okay. You can set a due date, so maybe we want to do it a little bit in the future. Maybe we want to say 15th, and this is where you pick your late reminder. So if they don't send it on time, you make sure that you keep the project on track by sending them reminders. And so this is something that will happen automatically. So depending on how urgent it is to get everything on time, you can either send daily, weekly, or bi-weekly reminders. I'm going to keep this at weekly. And then you can add a message. So add anything here that will make it easy for someone to submit the right files for you. So this could be something like, maybe we want to have, because this is photography, maybe we want to add something like, okay, so here we can see that I was able to add a little bit more detail that will make sure that the submission is correct. And then we just add the email to the person who is contributing. Okay, so if this person already has an account, it will just appear in their dashboard. They'll still get an email notifying them. But if they don't have an account from before, then they will get an email notification saying they just need to create a password and then they can submit their files. And the reason that we have them make an account per se, like the account is created, but they just make a password, is just so that in the future they can log in and see what they've submitted. And also when you have requests where you're actually rejecting some of the files and asking them to resubmit something, it's really easy for them to just log in and do that again. Okay, then we're going to click create. And that means now that this photographer has been added to this project as a contributor, and they will get an email notification, as we mentioned. A couple of things to look out for here. So you have a list here in the team members of all the contributors. And also you have a little overview of this request. So you can see that the status is requested, meaning that right now you don't have to do anything. Kayla will just make sure that the files come in. And then you also have the due date. And so if you find that, okay, actually this project is going faster or slower than expected, you can just update this. So you can just click this icon and just change the due date. Then you can go ahead and add as many requests as you need. So maybe one for discovery, concepting, whatever stages you have. Or you can add, let's say, one for the copywriter, one for the photographer, one for the freelancers, so forth. So for the contributor, this is what it will look like. They will get an email saying you've been asked to upload files. It will have some details about the project so they know it's coming from you and what it's about. And then you can just click view this request. So now I'm pretending to be the photographer uploading the files. So in this case, I have the message about what it needs to be submitted. And then I can just drop files here, or I can choose files from my computer. So I'm just going to drag and drop them. Okay, so you'll see that they'll be uploading. There'll be a thumbnail that will show a preview. As you can see at the moment, you have a preview for all of the photos. But I've also submitted an Illustrator file for, let's say, the logo or something like that. At the moment, we are working on actually making it possible to have a preview for all kinds of file formats, so I'm super excited about that. It's not launched quite yet, but it will be here soon, so that's super exciting. And then all I have to do as the contributor is just click submit. So that's everything I have to do. Just drag and drop the images and then click submit. So now let's go back to our account where we were sending up this request, and we're going to look at how to reject and approve files. Okay, so now we're back in the dashboard, and you'll see that there are some notifications here. So you'll see that I have a notification saying that the photographer joined the project and that they are also have been submitting files. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into this project, and I can see here now that this has changed from requested to needs approval. So I can just click on here to see the files, and it'll give me a preview of all of the submissions. And so you're able to either approve if they're the right fit or reject a file. And if you're rejecting a file, you can add a message saying why that wasn't the right fit and what you would like them to submit instead. You don't have to add a message, it's completely voluntary. So I'm gonna have a look at this, and so I'm gonna approve some of these and I'm gonna reject some of them. So let's have a look. Let's reject this one. And then we can write a message saying, okay, so now that we have all of the submissions and we know what we want to approve and reject, you can also choose to approve all or reject all if you have lots of submissions and they all look good, or you definitely need something different. We can either choose to request new files if we had something we weren't quite happy with and we need something new, or you can even reject files but still finish it if you feel like you have enough content. And the reason we're doing it like that is because we have an approved file folder that we're going to have a look at next. And we only want this content that is really going to be helpful to the project and the final approved files to appear there. So if there's something that isn't right, we're just going to reject it and still finish the request if we're happy. But in this case, we can also choose request new files if you want. So I'm going to click finish. I'm happy with this. So that means that this request is now finished, and we're going to get into the last step, which is how to give access to other people in your team who don't need to manage the project, but they need access to the approved files. And the way to do this is to add them as a creative. And you can do that right here. So all you have to do is put in an email and choose creative and invite them. And that will send an invite for them to access all of the approved files for this project. Once they have access, all they have to do is go to approved files, choose the project, and then everything will appear for them to be able to download with this little button here. If you have lots of different requests for the same project, you will have this little header for each section, having each of the requests separately. And so it's all organized by requests, basically. And so they'll be able to download it and use them for your projects. I really hope you thought that was helpful and that it gave you some inspiration on how you can get started and working with Kayla to help collaborate with your remote team and managing files in hopefully a much smoother and easier way. You can try Kayla completely for free for 30 days. There's no need to sign up with a credit card or anything. You can just try it completely for free. And so if you have any questions as you're testing it out, or if you even have requests for maybe new features that you'd like to see, I would really love to hear it. So just leave me a comment down below and I'll help you out, and we can put the new features on our list of things to get done. So thank you so much for watching. I really enjoy making these videos. If you think that they're helpful, we have tons more on the YouTube channel and we post once a week. So make sure to like this video and subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you get notified when we post new videos. It really helps the channel so that we can keep making these videos. I really hope that it helped, and so thank you so much for watching and good luck with your projects. See you next time.